Good morning and welcome to the Morning Blessings. I am Tessa-Marie. How are you doing today? It is a fabulously wet, hot day in Toronto. The weather has been hot everywhere. And Stacey, Stacey, the topic can tell you what it has been like. So we have a hot day, a very hot day. Yesterday, 42 degrees, and then it's raining, thunderstorm last night, and here we are. It's still wet and raining outside. Hi, Azim, good morning. Hi, Lisa, good morning. It is hot, and it is raining, and it is thundering storms all through the night, and here we are on this morning. Thanks, Stacy. Hi, Ryan, good morning. And that type of day, when the will decides, as I said, God kept weather for himself, or Mother Nature kept it for herself. Whoever kept it, they've got it. We have no control though, or maybe we do, but can you imagine if we had control, the world would be even more upside down than it is right now, because no matter what we do, as they said, if we left it alone, it would heal itself. But the weather has been amazing, because it is amazing when you do not understand. So, look at the topic, and we never know what awaits us each morning. We don't know. And like sometimes you wake up in the morning and things are the same. It's always been the same. You get up and you function in that time. So for me, it's 4:15 and I keep going until I show up here at 8 or 1 minute to 8. But sometimes, things happen and you have no idea why. So today, I woke up, I went to pick up my watch, it was charging, and then that little machine you have that will vacuum through the house, the Roomba, that one is a Mealy. It was not in the kitchen where it was normally supposed to be. It was in the dining room where it's never be, but it's there. So when I went to bend to pick up my watch, what I picked up, when I realized a little set of legs, tiny little like spider legs on the floor in the dark. Why isn't the light coming in? So anyway, my watch is under the table, and this thing is tied up to all the cords that it could find. It disconnected the, the plugs from the wall, and that was the beginning. So anyway, with me, me, I breathe into the occasion. I look at you and I go, okay, I don't know what you're doing here, but if you left the kitchen and you found yourself all the way there, how come you didn't fall down the stairs? So anyway, that of course, so that throws you off. Doesn't matter who you are, it's going to throw you off. So I looked at it and I said, watch is still working, but why is it under the table? So I took it, went to the kitchen, got into the kitchen, opened the fridge, and it's warm. I'm saying, your customer going to your house, you know what to expect. I can tell you, if something is broken, if somebody is driving a car, it's the same car like I have and I'm crossing the street, I can hear the sound and I know it's the car that, like a car I have. I've always been like that. So I was in tune. Why is this fridge warm? Open the freezer to get a lemon cube, and my lemon cube is almost defrosted. Okay, so that means I need to find out what's going on. So that was just the beginning, and everything went topsy-turvy. Then the thermostat is not working. And Vanessa said to me, it's hot in here. I go, you think? Then, anyway, by the time I got to the panel downstairs with my little trusted flashlight, the panel was fine. Anyway, prayers, my meditation, nothing is going, right? Everything is on hold, stop. Because I am a Taurus. When something needs to be done, or something is staring you in the face, the Taurus go, okay, let's get this thing going. We need to fix this. So I always tell you guys, I teach you from what I know, or what I experience. I teach you from it. So sometimes you look at life and you think, it's okay. But yesterday, the cleaning lady was here, and I don't know what happened. But it's not her. So I got the thing, checking, troubleshooting. If it is hot outside, chances are your fridge might, the weather might affect it, even if you have the air conditioner. Why did the air conditioner not come on in the night? All of those things are showing up. I went to the panel, I raised the temperature, and nothing was going its way. I had already said, if you were me, what would you do now? So I said it loud, and then I said, you know what? I'm going back to the panel. So I went back to the panel, and I turned it off. I waited for 20 seconds, turned it back on. I came upstairs, and the fridge and the freezer was humming. Before that, it was silent. You know, when you have all of these gadgets in your house, it shouldn't be silent. Something has to be humming. So anyway, then I looked at the thermostat, and it's telling me it is set at 24 degrees Celsius, which is never set there. So how it got there, heaven knows. Could be the thunder, who knows. I had to go back to work on this. So so the fridge is humming. I took this little Roomba Millie stuff, and I put it back where it's supposed to be on its little charger, and I walked away. But your whole life is in a turmoil. The only thing I did this morning was a conversation with my guardian angel and a shower, and got ready. And then I'm going to make a coffee. Pop the coffee. The pot went flying, and all the coffee grinds end up in my cup. So I said, what day is this? And at that time it clicked. It's the 20th of June, 2024. The 20th of June, 2068, something happened. And I remembered it at that time. It's very personal. And I said, oh, okay. And then I started laughing. I just started laughing. I was saying 68. 20th of June, 1968. And so then I went to Alexa. I said, Alexa, what day? I knew what it was. I wanted confirmation. Alexa, what day was the 20th of June, 1968? And Alexa said, it was Thursday. And I said, thank you. And I walked away. And clarity came. I went in the shower, and I have it. So the one thing that I can teach you from that is that when you get that lemon in the morning, or you get that shocked, not what you expected your day to go as, the one thing you can do for sure is to ask that question. If you were me, to your guardian angel, to God, whoever, what would you do now? Because if I hadn't asked that question, I wouldn't have been, I went down and the fuse, you know, you can look at the thing, not fuse, you know those little things. The modern box. All of them were going in the right direction. So that told me nothing was wrong. But when I switched it off and put it back on, voila, everything came back on again. So sometimes we wake up in the morning, and you know we have nighttime practices. We prepare ourselves for that type of morning. I was prepared. But the minute I did do a short prayer, because as soon as I wake up from the bed, I say thank you, and I say, dear our Father, and I say it, and I'm moving through the house, but I found out it was so quiet. And that always frightens me, because when it's so quiet in a house where there are all kinds of gadgets, you know something is not working right. But the thing about it is that none of us should ever have to be so stressful. If things are not working, we can ask for help. So let me see, I haven't said a word to any of you. That's Julian and Nancy, thank you for coming. Hi, Lonnie. Hi, Lonnie. Hi, Loretta and Colleen, and hi, Marina and Stacy, everybody, and Michelle, and all the new people, and Georgie. And thank you for coming, Yuko, everybody. So, needless to say, my brain went foggy. So I'm in the shower, and I'm thinking, okay, what do I speak about this morning? I am like a ship without a rudder. I'm floundering in the ocean. Talk about you. Talk about your experience. Talk about what it is when you are facing this type of things. You know, and I thought about it. Most women, you have a spouse in the house, and that spouse, you say, this isn't working. And if it's a male, he jumps into action. There is no male. And even if Brian was there, he would look, I don't know what to do, Tess, call somebody. That's always been Brian's answer to everything. That was just the kind of man he was. So To the point where the dentist told him once, you know, your wife has more tools than me, because I'll go to Home Depot. Michael used to tease me. Mom walks into Home Depot and they go, "Hi, Tess." And she goes, "Hi, Rob." They know her and she knows them. Because when something doesn't work, I step on it. That is the nature of a person born between the late half of April and the first half of May. That's just how we are. What is wrong, let's fix it. So I do not know how to quit. So talk about yourself, talk about you, talk about your experience. Because sometimes you maybe think, there's Tessa-Marie smiling and going through life. I do smile. But remember what I said? I remembered what happened on the 20th of June, 1968, which was a Thursday. It's so unusual. Think about it. Everything that happened then, and it's not often the same day shows up. You can have you always have a 20th of June, but not always on the same day. It just happens, but to be the same day. It's almost like when the coffee just poured into my cream, and it was all the coffee grind, or the coffee itself, that I said, what happened on that day? And then I smiled because I remembered instantly. So sometimes when you're facing something and it hits you in the forehead, in the face, it just comes at you. You've heard me say so many times, right? In the Lord of the Rings, Sam said to Frodo, "You never know, Frodo, what you step into when you open your door in the morning." He said that because if you remember, they were on their way to go have fun in the Shire. But the wizard came on his wagon and he set them up on a different journey. Not what they had planned. So today, nothing was done except getting ready and saying, I have to. But the magical thing of it is that the last thing that could have really made me end up being a mess is the grinds in the coffee. You guys know how I like a creamy coffee. But I went through it. You know what I did? I continued with the coffee, grinds on all. Whatever fell wasn't fine. And the rest, I just pressed the button. I say, you go and do your thing. I drank it. I don't know if the grinds went in my belly. I didn't feel it. I drank it. Because the point is, I cannot let outside influences affect me coming here. That is not my plan. My plan is not to stop because the world has said, I'm going to give you I'll put a spoke in your wheel today. That is not my plan. My plan is always show up. So when you get that shock and it says, hey, you need to do this, you say, okay, fine, I'll deal with you to a point. But I remember the magic for me, the miracle for me was asking that question. If you were me, what would you do? And I had been to the panel. And honestly, I was too frightened, although I can see it because they're numbered, to flip the switch. I know that though. That is something I know. But I was too frightened. If Vanessa was awake, that is at 4:30 in the morning, and she was maybe standing at my right shoulder, I might have said, should I do it? But there was nobody to ask that question to, except I had already asked the question. I didn't pause. I went back upstairs, and then, you know what? I'm going to flip that switch. The watch was working. Roomba couldn't kill it. So I set the time for a minute, and I counted 20 seconds, and then I flipped it off, and I flipped it back in. Walked back upstairs, and there it's humming. The fridge is humming. The thermostat, which is an Ecobee modern thermostat, refused to hook up to the Wi-Fi. And then when I finally went into it, it's sitting at 24, and that's why the house is hot. By then, Vanessa was up. I was sweating. And then, and I said, okay, so I got that one fixed. The fridge is humming, the furnace is going, and this little monster, how the hell it left its seat and traveled through the house, je ne sais pas. I do not know. And the cleaning lady, when she cleans sometimes, she throws him off kilter, but we can see him, we can hear him humming. So then Vanessa says to me, Mom, I heard that. I thought it was my computer. I woke up. She said, I kept hearing the banging. I said, what amazes me is that it didn't fall down the stairs. But we cannot let all those little things stop us from being us. We cannot. Remember I said, You don't always have to have a long prayer, a long meditation, a long series of things. Sometimes it's not the day for you to do all of them. Sometimes it's just the day for you to focus and be in the moment. Because the only thing we do not get back, and we cannot bank it to use it another year, is time. So for me to have allowed it to throw us off, no matter what, the most pivotal thing for me every day is to be here at 7:59. That's what's important. That's why I wake up at 4:15. That's why I do all I do. So it's the journey that you have to look at. Sometimes the journey does not go as smoothly as we like. And we talk a lot about the taste of the journey. We talk about what happens. You have a plan. My goal is now. But on the way there were several detours. Did I sit and say, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? I have to call somebody? No. What can I do now? Because no matter what, I have to get dressed to show my face, to let you know, hey, I too get those things. So although I place and I prepare my life in a certain way, life has a thing called a curveball. The resilience is what you need, and your consistency and your perseverance to say, hell no, you are not stopping me. Now, this is the energy that was around me. This is what happened. There's a thunderstorm, there's thunder, there's lightning, there's rain. Heaven knows all these electronics, what triggers them. We don't know. We live with these things, and we don't know if that Millie could climb on the bed and choke us in the middle of the night. We don't know. But to let all of these outside influences stop me from being me is not right. Sometimes we let another human, we allow them to spoil our day, and we say that. So for me, it's not a human, it's life, it's the energy, it's the gadget. When I talk about energy, believe me, you can feel the energy. But what about those of us who allows another human to dictate how every day goes? How do we feel in our skin? Because if it doesn't feel good, it's not good for you. Remember that. And it wasn't a human, it was several things. It's almost like you're being pushed. Hey, tell them your life is not always going to be roses. There are really a lot of great things. But I have a way of dealing with those that come in and stop me for a moment. I do look at them. At lunch yesterday with Randall and Chris, I said to Randall, when I get something what we call a pain, he said, well, what? And he stopped me, what? I said, yeah, I call it a sensation. And I say to the sensation, listen, man, I got things to do. I have to do that. I have to paint. I have to scrub. I don't do any of that. But I know my friend Colleen paints her house and put in floor, and she has arthritis in her hip, and she tells me that. She doesn't let that stop her. And we were talking about it. But we allow, and he was emotional, and he said, why do I let what people think of me bother me so much? And why do good people die and bad people stay and live? And I said, we haven't got a choice who dies and who lives, even if we miss them and we love them, because they sign a contract with what they're going to do. I said, can you ever imagine that our parents, all those years ago, would have sat together and decided, our three children are going to meet one day and have lunch at a Greek restaurant on the Danforth. You were born in Colombia, you were born in Ohio, and I was born in the Caribbean. No. But we're affecting each other's life by spending this time together. So it was an amazing lunch. We were there for 3 hours, and it was all this type of talk about why do we let things affect us? And here I'm living it. I refuse to let all these spooks that came to my will, there were 4 or 5, to stop me from showing up. And that is what is important. When we let another human being dictate how we should be and how we should be our life, how we should live our life, we are giving away our free will. We are giving away our choice to do or to be what we need to be. And that is one of the reasons why we have to always, you do not have to fight. It's not necessary to fight fire with fire. It's not necessary for me to pick up this thing and throw it away or scream or grab my hair or, it's not. Would it have made a difference? No, it wouldn't. But when I decided to be calculative and to think and to realize I can go through this. And when you have made the decision, you have to go at it. So if it's a human being, what do you do? If it's a bigger human being, it's a more powerful human being. If that human being has more right to be where you are than you do. If you happen to just be the appendix in the body, they say it has no use, but it's there anyway. So if you happen to be of no use to that person, but you're there anyway, you have to go into yourself and do not allow that person to affect you to the point where they can remove you. To do that, though, you cannot be like them. You cannot give tit for tat. You cannot go to war and leave your gun at home. You cannot do a lot of things. As I mentioned sometimes, the grocery store without a list is like going to war and you forgot what your gun. But in this case, you need to study that person. Everybody has a key and everybody has a lock. And it's up to you to find the key. You know they have a lock. But when you find the key of what makes them tick, you have to choose which tick you're going to work on, the violent tip or the wiser tip, because they are affecting your life. So you choose to go with the wiser tip. You start to study them. You know their strength, you know their weakness. You know their ego, maybe better than they. And you take that ego, because they love the ego, and you give them the food of the ego. You feed the ego exactly as they like to be fed. Because when you do that, the guards are down. When you do that, that's what they know. They feel their ego. They believe in their ego. They're ready to burst through in their ego. And it's okay. And that is when you take the time and you plan. That is when you have set them exactly where you need them to be. And you ask that question, if you were me, what would you do now? And like me, I could have said, but I was at the panel this morning. And all these switches, none of these switches were triggered. I knew they weren't triggered because when I opened the fridge, the lights came on. But it said, go back to the panel. I could turn around and say, well, I did that already. I was at the panel, and that would have been easy to take and find. You pick up the phone, you call a person that comes and trigger the panel and charge you $200, which is not anything, but it's just the way to think. So you do not fight with the challenge or the obstacle. You get to know it. You get to know it better than itself. And the other thing is, even that thing or that person is blocking you, you can learn from them. They got something to teach you. And the most important thing they can teach you is resilience. I'm not letting it go. I'm going to find a way from this situation to where I desire to be. If it means I have to build your ego to let you down, then so be it. But I have to survive this. I have to manage the challenge. That's why I do not call it a struggle. If you use the word struggle when you face a detour on your life's journey, a challenge, then it will always be there with you. You hear people on Instagram and all over the social media, I had a struggle, I struggled and I struggled. You want to know who didn't let the struggle affect her? Tina Turner. It was hard. She was physically abused by his lover. Her hair was burned off her scalp. Did she let that stop her? No. And was it easy? Certainly not. But she had a goal. She had to get Sony to give her $60 million for her music before she died. She had to. Years before they did that, they bought her all her music. That didn't mean she couldn't still sing it. But if she had let that experience stop her from ever performing and ever becoming the artist that she the stories in her songs, she wouldn't have gotten that money to leave to part of it to one of his own children. His son was adopted by her. So you see what I mean? We cannot ever let what comes in our way stops us from going ahead, jumping over it, blowing the trumpet until the walls come down. We talked about that yesterday. Taking time to inflect and regroup. Making sure you understand where you are and what you're facing. You cannot be clear if your emotional prosperity is crazy wild. If you're acting out. If the manager in front of you is telling you they're going to fire you, you cannot act out. This is not the time to pull your gun from your thing and do that. Kill them. This is not the time. This is the time to find out what it is you can do. So when we let outside influences, like mine, those life things, or another human being, situation, challenges, affect us to the point where we stop functioning. We cease. We give up. We stop pedaling. 2 frogs found themselves in a pail of milk and they couldn't come out. They jumped into it and they can't come out. One of the frogs pedaled for a while and said, you know what, I'm just going to give up. And it sank to the bottom and it drowned. The other one kept pedaling its little feet until it turned that cream to butter. And when it was strong enough, it pushed harder on his brother's head at the bottom, underneath the little bit of cream he formed, and found himself out of the tub. Did he give up? No, he didn't. And that is why we must remember, we are going to have challenges on life's journey. Some of them we did not choose. They just happen. And when these challenges happen, we have to learn that we cannot let them cover us and choke us and stop us from breathing. So a simple one is you start on Instagram. You press the button and it's not doing. What do? Do you walk away and say, oh, I'm not? No. You press it again. You turn it off and you start again. And you do not let it control you because it's happening outside of you. But like my friend, taking the emotional words of others, the opinion of others, and carrying it like a sack over your shoulder in a desert, and going through sand dunes, and carrying somebody's words across your back and making it affect you, make it stop you from breathing, from walking, from singing, from seeing the light. Recognize. Know that it's cracked. It's allowing the light to come through. And it's only when you can see through the crack that you can fix it. And call it a challenge. Believe it is a challenge to see which one of the 2 frogs will escape and which one will give up. You choose. The thing is, we have a right to choose. According to life, we have the choice. We have free will. Real. Nobody, if you allow it and you give it to them and they damage you, you still have the ability with the damage. Damage is the crack. So they have damaged you. They brought down your emotions. They have you believing you're not good enough. You do not have what it takes to make it. You are too short. You are black. Black people are stupid. Their brain is the size of a flipping pea. This is that. Your color is not the right color. And you have that wrong with you. And you have this wrong with you. And your parents divorced. And your mother was this. And your father was that. And they tell you all of that. But if you want, you can go through all of that. Stand on top of it and conquer it. And of course, getting on top of all of that is not going to be easy. Every now and again, you're going to remember all of those things that is in your way. But every time you remember that, what you have to do is to see where you want to go. And the only way you can see is when there is a crack, especially when you're standing in darkness. It's when there is a crack in darkness that the light shows through. And when that light throws through, you have to be able to say, there is an opportunity waiting for me. I have a plan. I chose a plan. And yes, it didn't go according to plan. So guess what? I did this, and I'm going to let everything else that happens today fall where it wants to fall. I'm going to be an observer in my entire day, just an observer. I maybe will do absolutely nothing, but I will observe the day. And then the thing that is the magic of it all, the miracle in it, is to be grateful. You know, be grateful that I could read, to read the instruction and the choices I have to troubleshoot the fridge, to look at the thermostat, to troubleshoot. I could understand it. I was able to stand up and face it eyeball to eyeball. I have a lot to be grateful for because I conquered so many things that I wasn't expecting. Like I said, we never know what we step into when we wake up in the morning. So, yeah, some days are more challenging than others. And remember, it's all up to you. Nobody else is coming, right? Can you imagine how busy everybody is fixing things for people? I had to do this. So when the relationship is broken, that's when you see the truth. When the situation is not working in your way, that's when you understand why. When something goes haywire in the middle of the night, but yet it didn't wake you up. Isn't that amazing? So everything that happens in our life, there's always something amazing that happens in it. It is resilient. It gives you those words of the children, I did it. It makes you feel like, okay, I conquered it. And that's it. When I would say to my children, get on with it, figure it out, and I walk away. That's all I did. You figure it out, get on with it. And they all make comments about that today. That mom, all you said was figure it out. I said, well, it was your responsibility to figure it out and get on with it. So figure it out and get on with it. Remember that for your own self. Teach that to you. You have to get on with it. To not get on with it, you're letting it take you down. And heaven help you if you're down. Because nobody is coming. Have a great morning. I have to read your comments. And to do that properly, I have this tiny dress on because it's hot. My pattern is that I have to have a little cry, then a moment to put myself together, and then tackle it. I agree, Kathleen. I agree. That's Reggie too. I fix things. Juliana, my Alexa told me that day was it was a Thursday, yeah? It was a Thursday. It was a Thursday. Sharing is great. Maybe you know a good technician to fix my Bosch dryer. That's mysteries awaits us. That's why we flow like water. Yeah, life's mysteries, yeah. Hi, Glenn. Lauren. Tell her to take name natural egg membrane at the health food store. Okay. Oceans of thoughts. That's the thing. Oh, my sister was there. Love that. This group is growing. The vibration of goodness is expanding. Thank you, Marina. Yeah, it is growing. Stacey says 10%. Love you, Tessa. Thank you for all the positive vibes. Being grateful for the hiccups. Being grateful for hiccups challenges. Maya Angelou said complaining is unbecoming. It is. It is so unbecoming. It's like when I showed Kylie something in orange. She goes, oh, I hate orange. And she made that face, and she's 5. So yes, it is not because. Well said, sister. Thank you. Good morning from Rosalind. Hi, Rosalind. Just Karen joined. All of you wonderful new people, this is the morning blessing. And I don't know what drove you here or what brought you here, but I am not a motivational speaker. I am a motivational teacher. I teach from the heart. I teach from my experiences. I am not afraid to let you know that, yes, there are times you fail, but when you cannot stay there, And you have, this is why I read Rudyard Kipling, If, for you guys. You have to start again and build it from worn out tools. You cannot let it take you over. And Theodore Roosevelt said, it's not the critic that counts. It's the man in the arena who knows what it is to lie down in the dirt and they sing and fight, take a punch and stand up again and do what they have to do. That is what matters. They do not build statues to critics. So the opinion of others, we talked about that yesterday, has nothing to do with you. Whatever they think of you is really goes right back to them. So they might as well think good things of you so they can get it, because their thought is their future. We prophesize our life every day by how we think of others and how we behave. And guys, you know me, I could talk for 2 days, so I'm not going to do that though. Because all is well that ends well. And everything is working. Except I didn't do all of my stuff this morning. And I'm not going to do them. It's maybe a holiday that I needed. So I'm taking that. I'm going to put something on that's warmer because no air conditioner is on. And I'm going to enjoy the rest of the day. And that might be musing for the whole day. I will write this because I need somebody else to know that, hey, even if you have to push through the desert, you're going to come out on the other side. Do you know there are oases in the desert? There's spots that where you are, if you haven't read The Alchemist, pick up that book and read it. And because sometimes what we are seeking is right where we started. And T.S. Eliot said it best. He said, man shall never stop from wandering, only to arrive where they started and know the place for the first time. What do you think? So wonderful people, let us have a little chat. Hello, just Karen F. Karen Ross. Okay, hello, how are you, Karen? Thanks for joining, Nancy. Thank you, sweetie. Stacy, of course, Rita, Georgie, Marina, Lisa, Colleen, Lauren. How are you doing, Lauren? My sister, Ryan, Kathleen, my adopted daughter, Loretta, my sister, my cousin-in-laws, my cousin-in-law, Lorna Stewart. Hello, Glenn, Michelle, that looks, Michelle, I don't know who you are, but congratulations. Ocean of Thoughts, of course, is Rosalind. So wonderful, amazing human beings, thank you for coming. It has been an absolutely amazing Thursday, and I am going to reminisce on Thursday, the 20th of June, 1968. Have a great day. I was 22 years old. Love you. Bye-bye.